Yeah, he called me, Sam.
Welcome and thank you for joining us today for Truro Town Council's Committee of the Whole for Thursday, November the 20th. I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. I, Kathy Henton, Mayor for the Town of Truro, acknowledge we are on Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. We acknowledge the peace and friendship treaties and recognize we are all treaty people. We recognize African Nova Scotians are a distinct people whose histories, legacies, and contributions have enriched the part of Mi'kmaq known as Nova Scotia for over 400 years. We recognize the Acadians who lived in harmony with the Mi'kmaq, whose communities across the province are a living testament to the fortitude of their ancestors who survived the Grand Derangement. Today, as both Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, we commit to seek harmonious and mutually beneficial relationships. We give thanks to the elders and knowledge keepers. So, Council, the first item on our agenda today is the approval of the agenda. There is one change. Our CAO, Mike Dolter, will be presenting instead of Allison Grant. Are there any other additions, deletions to our agenda? Seeing none, the agenda amended for November 16th, 2025 is approved. Item 2 is the approval of the draft minutes of draft minutes from October 16th, 2025 from our Committee of the Whole meeting. Council, you've reviewed the minutes. Are there any changes to be made? Seeing none, the minutes of October 16th, 2025 are approved. We're moving on now, and so pleased to welcome today at the presentation table is Ms. Nikki Gillis, and she's our EDIA coordinator, and she's going to give us a presentation today. So please take it away, Ms. Gillis.
Thank you very much, Mayor Hinton. Wait a moment while things get set up. Okay, perfect. So good evening, afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present the Regional Equity and Anti-Racism Strategy. This was a joint collaboration between the Municipality of Colchester, Town of Stewiacke, Village of Bible Hill, as well as the Town of Truro. Tonight, I'll be sharing the strategy with you for review and discussion in preparation for a future council meeting where it will be considered for adoption. This strategy will be designed to guide our collective work over the next 2.5 years. So to begin, I want to discuss why the strategy matters. So first and foremost, it's about building a fair and inclusive and connected region where everyone feels that they belong. Secondly, it's about addressing racism, discrimination, and inequality in meaningful ways. Third, we are fulfilling our legal and moral obligations and commitments under the Dismantling Racism and Hate Act, otherwise known as Bill 96. And finally, the strategy is about taking real, practical steps in government and services we deliver and in community life. So this plan was developed in participation and collaboration with WTC, Waking the Unconscious, who has acted as project consultants. Together, we reviewed policies, demographics, and existing initiatives already underway in our municipalities. We also engaged the community through open houses, focus groups, and interviews, making sure that diverse voices were heard, and we partnered directly with underrepresented communities. Mi'kmaq, African Nova Scotian, newcomer, representation of disability, and 2 LGBTQIA residents were all sharing their experience with us throughout the whole process. Those voices directly shaped this plan. The strategy you see today reflects both this research and what we heard from the people we serve. It brings together local knowledge, data, and the lived experiences of those most affected by inequalities. Moving on to the community engagement aspect of the engagement. Across all 4 municipalities, people told us they want real action and not symbolic gestures. Trust and accountability are crucial, and that means regular updates and visible progress. We also heard a need for plain language, translation, and accessible information. Limited staff resources could be a factor, but we must work together collectively through all the regions to ensure there's no longer a gap. Policies need to also be applied consistently so residents get the same experience across municipalities. In terms of the translations, we are already seeing that in action. We just hosted a Senior Wellness Week and Newcomer Week Expo last week where live translations were offered in many languages such as Punjabi, Hindi, Urdu, and so people could come and feel as though they could participate to their fullest being. The actual strategy consists of 3 goals. It will be Goal 1, community relationships, Goal 2, education, as well as Goal 3, organizational change. Each has specific actions that are realistic, measurable, and tailored to our region. Building on the community relationships, this is the strongest part of our commitment. We're committing to 2 regional community equity forums each year, plus ongoing surveys and engagement opportunities. The reason this matters, as I said, is the community has told us they want to see more than symbolic gestures. They want trust, accountability, and real action. The key actions, as I said, will be the 2 community equity forums per year, and we hope to offer ASL and Mi'kmaq interpretation and virtual options where feasible. We also hope to develop a clear process of reporting racism, hate, or discrimination from residents, as well as strengthening our ties with the Mi'kmaq, African Nova Scotian, newcomer, 2S LGBTQIA communities, as well as other diverse communities, including those with disabilities. Our expected outcomes are residents feel heard and supported, increased trust through visible follow-through, consistent reporting and response of processes across municipalities, and hoping to feel more sense of belonging. In terms of education, we're talking about making this a key and real change. This plan commits all staff, council, and committees to training in equity, anti-racism, and accessibility, with completion tracked and reported annually. We have already launched our Foundations of Belonging training to senior staff, and I'm working to provide Indigenous training through the Cultural Heritage Center in Millbrook, as well as 2S LGBTQIA training through Truro Pride. We are also in the works to do a wheelchair exercise here in Council, where Council will better understand accessibility through rolling around this space in wheelchairs. We're also going to create practical tools like guides and checklists to help staff apply what they learn day to day. And education won't stop at the municipal level. We'll host community learning opportunities like workshops and webinars, and support local groups and schools where the resources so learning is shared across the whole region. The key actions here will be mandatory training for all staff in council and tracking of all of these processes annually. And our expected outcomes would be informed decision-making across all levels, consistent application of equity principles across all of the municipalities, and community-wide learning opportunities that build understanding and reduce barriers. Thirdly, we're speaking of organizational change, and this about making changes inside of municipalities. We want to strengthen accountability by collecting some basic voluntary information about who works for us and who we serve. This kind of data helps us see if everyone in our community has the same access to opportunities and if there are any gaps we need to fix. It's not about identifying individuals, more so it's about understanding patterns so we can make fair and informed decisions. We'll also be reviewing our policies to make sure they're fair and accessible and applied the same way across all 4 municipalities when feasible. And finally, we'll work on better outreach so people know about and can take part in jobs, training, and community programs, specifically speaking of the Mi'kmaq, African Nova Scotian, newcomer, disability, and 2S LGBTQIA communities across the region. We want to make sure our systems are open and welcome to everyone involved. Our expected outcomes here are transparent and accountable governance, increased representation and participation from underrepresented groups, as well as policies and practices that actively dismantle systemic barriers. I spoke a little bit about this, but a bit more high level is how we'll measure this progress. So those 2 community equity forums will be tracked through ongoing surveys, and we'll monitor training completion rates for staff, council, and committees. We'll look at the policies and data, and each year, key municipal policies will be reviewed through an equity and accessibility lens, and we'll also collect voluntary demographic data through surveys and forums, supported by a Why We Ask campaign, so people understand really why we're using this information and how it will be used. We'll also measure accessibility and equity outcomes, including implementation of our accessibility plans that were approved earlier this year, and checking whether outreach efforts are actually reaching more diverse communities. Finally, accountability will be key. Councils will receive annual updates when needed that report both successes and challenges, and plain language summaries will be published so that residents can clearly see the progress that's being made. Defining success in our region. Success is not about checking actions, it's also about the kind of communities we're building. Firstly, we want to welcome fair communities where everyone feels safe and respected, and where residents trust that discrimination will be addressed seriously and fairly. Second, success means equal access to opportunities. It's jobs, programs, or civic participation. Residents should face fewer barriers and be able to fully take part. And thirdly, we're aiming for stronger relationships and trust. This means ongoing collaborations that we've already built, including with the Mi'kmaq, African Nova Scotian, newcomer, 2S LGBTQ communities, and other diverse communities with councils and staff seen as true partners in this work. And finally, success requires transparency. Annual reports will show this progress and challenges openly, with the plain language making it accessible for everyone. The next steps in this strategy will be presenting this for council for adoption and ensuring that everyone has the resources to review and ask any questions when necessary. And once adopted, the full strategy and plain language summary will be published online and shared with committees and partners. Implementation will begin immediately after adoption. I say this, however, we have been already in the process as we have been starting our accessibility training. We have been doing more training, as I said, with our foundations of belonging, so this will just continue. We're also looking into further steps with community equity forums, where all of the municipalities will get together to talk about what is working and what's not working. Municipalities will coordinate efforts to share resources and keep actions consistent. Finally, accountability is already built in. Councils will receive updates from their leads, which will be me, and plain language updates will be shared with residents so progress is clear and transparent. So I want to thank everyone for the time today. I really appreciate the opportunity to present this to you. We also want to acknowledge that the voices of Mi'kmaq and African Nova Scotian communities, along with the contributions of newcomers, racialized groups, 2S LGBTQIA members, Acadian and Francophone communities, as well as those with disabilities and perspectives shape this entire strategy. This joint presentation brings the strategy to all of the councils at their own respective times, and it will now move forward to individual meetings at the appropriate time. Thank you so much, and I'm open to questions.
What a succinct report. Thank you very much, Ms. Gillis. Very much enjoyed, and you've been very busy, I know that, and working very hard, so
Thank you.
it shows in your work, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.
We have some questions here. Councillor McGrath, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Gillis, for your presentation. Definitely succinct, a little shorter than what was provided to us in our package, but obviously we'd be here all day if we went through that entire thing, but great presentation.
Thank you.
A couple of quick questions, and it might actually be for Chief McNeil, one of them. You mentioned a clear process for reporting racism and hate and such. I would have thought that we would already have something like that in place just under the criminal code and hate crimes. Chief, are you able to weigh in that, or Ms. Gill, somebody just, do we not already have a clear process for that?
Yeah, the criminal code does have the what it constitutes an offense for hate crime in Canada, but we are working with Nikki and also the Canadian Foundation for Racial Equity and delivering a hate crime program to Truro. So actually, it's good timing you mentioned it because it starts next week. Mm-hmm. So we're having a community engagement meeting on Monday. And then for 3 days next week, all of our officers and dispatchers are going to get training on hate crimes, investigations, and criteria, what constitutes a hate crime and what doesn't. So it's a really comprehensive program, and it's been across, there's a few communities in Canada so far that have adopted it. We're a pretty early adopter for the Atlantic region in Truro, so it's going to be twofold. So it's going to educate the community on how and what a hate crime is and how they report it. It's going to educate our dispatchers on when they receive a call, how they can determine if it may be a hate crime or ask the proper questions to probe a little bit more. And it's also going to enhance our investigators' ability to investigate hate crimes and have them prosecuted successfully. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's pretty timely that you mentioned it because it's starting next week. So
no, that's good. Thank you very much. My other question, and this is something that when I was on the Diversity Advisory Committee, even currently on the African Nova Scotian Community Strategy Committee, when we're talking about how we measure our progress, and you talked a little about the voluntary data gathering.
Yes.
Like one of the challenges that we have had on these committees is on how to make sure that we have all of that information. How do we measure that progress? Because it is voluntary, and just looking at things like in the European Union, they have the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulations.
Yes.
Something that I've had to be aware of as my work in IT. That how are we protecting people's information, because this is potentially identifiable, but how are we navigating that is, more specifically, I guess, around that challenge.
So legislatively, we have to ensure everything is stored within Canada when we do take information like that. Yeah. But in terms of the voluntary, it will be anonymous to ensure privacy, as well as showing through further actions how we are utilizing them. So in the reports, we can say certain amount of people have identified as cisgendered, or a certain amount of people have identified as part of the 2S LGBTQIA. Mm-hmm. And then furthermore, they will see how we action on that. So they know that it will still remain anonymous, but we're moving forward to improving our processes with that information.
Okay, and then how often do we gather that information?
I would say because we have opted for 2 equity forums a year, it would be at least twice a year.
Okay. It's just curious because I have friends who are in the process of transition.
Yes.
And so that might be, if they may have answered one way this year might answer another way next year, just as things evolve. So just curious about the timing of that. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Talbot.
Thank you, Nikki. Great report, great start, but to state the obvious, at the end of the day, the affected groups are going to judge us by what we do, not by what we say.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good point. Thank you so much. Councillor Graham.
I'm just wondering about the Truth and Reconciliation documents and all that presents and municipal responsibilities and how municipalities can participate and support the ideas behind truth and reconciliation. Has that been incorporated in some way into your report?
Absolutely. So I am in discussion with Heather Stevens of the Cultural Heritage Center, and we will be doing truth and reconciliation training with her directly to understand better how we as a municipality can adhere to those regulations.
Great.
Thank you for the question.
Well, I see no further questions, so I want to thank you so much for your presentation today. We look forward to all these positive things coming to our community, and training and everything else is going to be coming down the pike, so it's very exciting times. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mayor Hinton.
So much. Moving on, our agenda now is the strategic plan review. And today, our town CAO, Mike Dolter, will be presenting that review.
Mr. Dolfer, the mic, you just push the button on it.
Yes. Yes, just light up your button, Mr. Dolter, and everyone will be able to hear you. So, welcome to the big seat, and take it away.
Thanks very much, Madam Mayor. Again, we just did want to go through the strategic plan fairly quickly. I mean, the document you've got in front of you, I do apologize for the font, the size. I will send it to council electronically so you can adjust it to your visual abilities. Again, that's why I have my glasses on, because to make sure I can read what I've got in front of me.
I have my 3 pair here, and I'll put them all on at the same
Yeah,
time.
well,
Yeah,
again,
thank
you do need a magnifying glass, but again, yeah, so essentially, as council aware, we adopted a strategic plan for 2025 to 2028 to really outline the community's vision, mission, and values. And we want to establish really clear pillars moving forward. And in doing that, we wanted to set strategic outcomes and actions kind of to guide us where we're going to go for the next 3 years. And again, we adopted a 3-year plan because a 5-year plan we felt was too long, because, as you know, certainly the world around us is changing very quickly. So we wanted to make sure that we had, we were reactive and we were changing as we were required. So the plan itself gives us overall direction to kind of guide our decisions, our projects, and some of our initiatives. One of the things we're doing from a staff perspective is, even for requests for decisions, we bring those forward to council. We're going to start linking those back to the strategic plan. And even when, as council's considering different things, we're going to look back at the plan and say, how is this part of the plan? And then council can decide whether or not, are we deviating from what we've set out in the plan, or are we making an adjustment to the plan itself? So again, that's kind of the thinking that we're trying to look at it and everything we do. So the plan that you have before you was approved in May of 2025. And so we committed to reporting biannually. So this marks the first report on strategic plan update. And I need somebody to flip my slides, obviously, because I'm going on. So I'm just going to touch very quickly on these. In fact, it's clear on the screen that it is in the handout I gave you. So first year we're looking at is the economic prosperity. And that's basically to ensure that the town has a thriving economy characterized by robust innovation, diversified industries, equitable wealth distribution, where individuals and businesses are empowered to grow and communities benefit from sustainable long-term prosperity. So as far as the strategic actions go here, because again, I think those are important things, we looked at timelines going out particularly over the next, into 2028, and it's a 3-year plan, but obviously fiscal year 27, 28, so that's why we indicated 28 as well. So some actions obviously won't start until the 26-27 year. But for 25-26, the items that we've looked at, strategic actions, work on regional partnerships to develop a transportation plan. And as council aware, the regional transportation feasibility study is underway and expected to be delivered to council in early 2026. So that is ongoing and active. We're also looking at establishing a transportation committee to discuss the aspects of the regional road networks, processes, and municipal investments in roads. And we're arranging some of the initial re-engagement with the province's area managers and staff to identify any common potential initiatives. So again, that's ongoing and talking with provincial staff on the regional transportation. The update of the Victoria Square revitalization plan. This was a plan that was presented to council a number of years ago. So we've looked at the redevelopment of that plan, and we're taking steps moving towards public consultation engagement, and we'll go through a similar design process and update that similar to what we did with Herb Pepper Park. And this will require, obviously, looking at budgets for 26, 27, and then council can make a decision on the priority of this work here. And I think we committed this year, I think, in fact, to take down the Welcome Center there because it is, it's in very poor state of repair right now. And again, that would be probably one of the first steps on redevelopment of Victoria Square. Supporting downtown Truro partnerships, efforts to encourage local shopping and business downtown. So this is ongoing, and we're working with the DDP and the present English Street the closure plan for the streets went through and was presented to council during the May committee of the whole meeting. And the town has supported the DDP in the closure of English Place over the summer, and we provide staff assistance with that as well. And again, we're looking for a report from the DDP on how that went, and I think they they have some updates on that coming forward. Strategic outcomes as far as talent attraction and retention, and obviously we've been partnering with local post-secondary institutions. We're looking at ensuring there's sufficient housing supply, fostering welcome, inclusive community, and we are working to build an environment where skilled individuals can live, work, and thrive. So the actions from there that have been going on for this year: promote Truro as a place to live and work. This is ongoing. We've completed through the collaboration with the TCPEP, County of Colchester, and the Downtown Truro Partnership. This is also an initiative through the town's own corporate communications. We've been busy highlighting the town's initiatives that make Truro a great place to live and work. And again, that's something that we try to maintain on a regular monthly basis on the good things that are going on around town. Strengthening unique advantages. 2 areas we're working on there for strategic actions. We work collaboratively with the regional partners to implement and recommend from the regional tourism plan to guide the use of the regional marketing levy funds. So society has now been established. A board of directors is in place to guide the step plan forward, and the executive director has been hired now. So that's, again, that's ongoing, and they are working on policy documents in order to get the society working and functioning well. As far as development policy and procedures for town council to consider funding requests for tourist events outside of these, those supported by the marketing levy. That has not been started, but we are awaiting the Tourism Development Society to provide some guidance on that. So again, we'll be coming back to council to deal with some of the requests that we get outside of that. And I think probably the best example of that is some of the requests we've gotten from the Rath Eastlink Center in the past that, you know, we need to decide what goes to the Tourism Society and what council would consider supporting and other initiatives like similar to that. Leadership and governance, the next pillar we're looking at. So governance framework that's transparent, accountable, and inclusive of to promote effective decision-making, encourage civic participation, and safeguard the rule of law to ensure the interests of all stakeholders are represented and protected. So the strategic outcomes, we look at community engagement, something that, you know, we want to foster an inclusive community and collaborative community through engagement and make sure that everybody's heard, valued, and empowered to help shape the future of the town. Strategic actions that we work on, review the function, terms of reference, and the abilities of town committees. This is ongoing. Staff are in the process now of updating the terms of reference of a lot of the committees and adding the committee's terms of reference to the website. And this was identified as something that was missing. We're also ensuring the engagement tools are interactive and easily accessible. We're expanding on the youth and student engagement strategies. And these are all what we're doing this year, ensuring engagement considers a variety of tools and perspectives. So one of the things that council has brought forward, obviously, with the disappearance of the daily paper in town, we are challenged to make sure that we do get the word out. So we're using the alert system that we have. We're using social media as probably one of the main efforts. And in some cases, we're even going directly through community groups and using them as kind of our voice, dealing particularly in some cases with the African Nova Scotian community. We're using community and the churches to kind of get the word out. So again, we're trying to be innovative on how we're contacting and working with people. Trust and transparency. Obviously, we do value open communications, accountability, and honesty in all our governance practices to foster trust in the community. So we're trying to be transparent in our decision making, and in order to support that, strategic actions, we're ensuring public communications are transparent, consistent, and continue to evolve to respond to the needs of citizens. We're sharing information widely before, during, and after a project. And that's ongoing. We're doing detailed briefings, briefing note on this project, the stadium restoration. Discussions have started regarding project charters. So every project we do now is we're actually establishing charters for those projects, which will be approved by me, reviewed by senior staff, and then presented to council on those projects. So you understand exactly how they're going to proceed. And again, we'll understand a full scope of financial implications of the projects that we do bring forward to council. So that's something new that we've been working on very recently. We're working on a project audit and lesson learned. That's underway for the stadium, the TAC redevelopment, and the ball field. And monthly council reports have been enhanced as well. I think council's noticed that. We've changed our reporting practices in order to provide more information. We're reviewing the process for community feedback to ensure concerns and diverse perspectives are heard. I think, in fact, we've set up some more, again, with the best examples, the African Nova Scotian community. We have set up individual groups, particularly when it comes to planning and development, with those groups to hear from the community before developments go too far. We're leveraging digital platforms like websites, social media to share information widely and engage with the community. It's ongoing. And we're actively engaging with community leaders and diverse groups to foster understanding and trust. So the CEO and senior staff are active on numerous committees and hold one-on-one meetings with various members of the community. So again, we're very much concerned about engaging with the right people to ensure information is out there. The operational efficiencies. So the town will streamline operations through innovative leadership, embrace data-driven solutions, and continuous improvement to enhance service delivery. We're doing this by fostering a culture of efficiency and collaboration. Truro will optimize resources, reduce waste, and ensure efficient governance that meets the evolving needs of the community. So strategic actions from there, we're looking at fostering cross-departmental collaboration and demonstrate effectiveness of the team to serve the community. And we're on this is being done through ongoing work with senior staff to work through teams, through projects and initiatives. And again, these project charters that we're putting forward are a way to actually formalize this. Again, then we will be presenting those shortly to council, just so you have a good understanding of what we're proposing there. Ensuring the water utility is sustainable and updating the water rate study. So we're working through that now, forecast expenses for the current year, to find financing to complete the proper condition assessments, to better understand the capital needs for the water rate study is underway. Staff attended 4 days of training in June and July related to doing a water rate study. And Public Works is conducting analysis on the bulk water usage as well. So that's all to ensure the water utility is in good shape. Regional partnerships and collaboration. So through that pillar, the town will strengthen regional partnerships by fostering collaboration relationships with local government stakeholders and provincial and federal partners. So we're working together with the region. So the strategic actions there is enhance working relations between the regional partners, municipalities, and other levels of government. And this is ongoing. CAO, mayor, and council continue to work with local partners to meet with regional municipalities, work on regional municipality and common concerns and interests. And again, council's aware we're doing a great deal of work with the County of Colchester right now and Stewiacke as well through a number of initiatives. And the EDIA initiative is a good example of that Ms. Gillis presented a few minutes ago. Work collaboratively with the County of Colchester to finalize the wastewater treatment plant agreement. This is ongoing, and we have discussions going on between staff and between the CAOs on that matter. Strategic outcome as far as the prioritizing municipal spending, and the town is committed to prioritizing municipal spending by focusing on essential needs of residents, ensuring that resources are allocated to improve quality of life and community infrastructure. And we're balancing fiscal responsibility with strategic investments, and the town will meet the immediate and long-term needs of its residents while remaining responsive to the evolving priorities. So the strategic actions there is assessing service levels and programs to ensure they align with the needs and desires of residents while balancing fiscal responsibility to avoid overburdening the taxpayers. So in the process now of doing jurisdictional scans of other towns and counties around the region, and we're recommending a timeline for the comprehensive review should be presented to council for 26-27. Developing a long-term capital plan. We've got preliminary internal discussions are underway with the goals to complete a 5-year capital plan in advance of the budget cycle for 26-27. So that's ongoing. And again, as I said earlier, we'll be tying the capital plan to the overall strategic plan. So we're looking, sustainable environment. So we're looking at to balance a healthy environment where natural resources are responsibly managed, ecosystems are preserved, and climate resilience is prioritized, fostering a community where both human and ecological well-being are safeguarded for generations to come. So first area we're looking at for strategic outcomes is the reduction and mitigation. And so the actions there are, first area is developing an implementation plan based on recommendation actions outlined in the Community Energy and Emissions Plan. So we completed, in partnership with the Clean Foundation, the current initiatives underway include the Fleet Conservation Study, excuse me, the Climate Adoption Plan, Community Solar Partnership, and the Downtown Energy District Energy Plan that Council approved about a month ago, and the retroactive study for the Truro Farmers Market, or the retrofit study, sorry. Continue partnership with the Clean Foundation and Quest Canada, and seeking partnership opportunities for further implementation for the CEP. So this is ongoing and involves continued partnerships, new partnerships with the Recover Initiative, Net Zero Atlantic, Rochelle Owen Consulting, SCE, Asante Community Solar Garden, are just some of the examples of some of these initiatives that are moving forward. Revisit the Honeywell retrofit and renewal program to determine next steps. So we're doing a gap analysis related to power and heat, have been addressed with data updates for the summer, during the summer of 2005, and we're working with Honeywell on a report to collect the final portion of the municipal green fund for the final funding, and that's to report on the actual savings we've had on the retrofits that we've done. So we're continuing to investigate the retrofit of the Market Hall as well through the recovery initiatives, and the RFP is currently issued to hire a consultant to get that study underway. They explored the feasibility of public transportation and regional partnerships. Again, that talked about that earlier, but that's included as far as the environment, and we should have that plan delivered in early 2026 on the transportation feasibility for the public transportation. I continue to investigate the community solar garden with the County of Cumberland. So again, in September, we voted to pause this initiative, but again, we are monitoring the situation to see if we can get a restart, and we have moved on to work with the Asani Community Solar Garden Partnership, and that was approved in October. So we are moving forward on one of the initiatives at least, so that which is positive. So adaptation and resilience. So we're developing climate action and resiliency plan. So the RFP was issued in August, and East Point was awarded the contract to develop a plan in October 2025, and that's completed before the end of the fiscal year. Continued to ensure the collaboration through the Joint Flood Advisory Committee, and staff and representatives from Town Council recently participated in the Joint Flood Advisory Committee. The intention is for this committee will resume meeting every 6 months. So again, this is a committee that hadn't met, I think, since pre-COVID. So again, we do have that up and back, and things are moving forward with that as well. Ensure we are prepared to and know the risk of the invasive species, the hemlock woolly adelgid. So that's ongoing. Public education has been done in the spraying program against the HWA in Victoria Park. And that the HWA theme is in a number of these initiatives. I won't repeat those, but this has been something that certainly the town is concerned of in maintaining the hemlock forest within the region. So we've got a number of things moving forward on that. Civic engagement and education with respect to sustainable environment. So we've done an enhanced promotion of the tree planting program to ensure promotion includes the benefits of the programs to address climate concerns. This is ongoing. As council is aware, we planted over 200 street side trees in 2025. This is helping to grow awareness of the town's urban forest goals and objectives. We worked with a number of schools to engage students in this process as well, which is very positive. We've educate the town's response to climate adaptation measures, such as HWA, wildfires in Victoria Park, and et cetera. Promotion on stormwater management projects. Cobequid Drive is a good example of that, and the town's HWA program in Victoria Park. Additional education as the town develops its risk and resiliency plan will go through 2026, and we are very concerned as well. Obviously, education even will include water conservation as well too, as council approved amendments to our water bylaws in order to implement some of the conservation measures that may be required going into 2026. Educate citizens on the initiatives of the Urban Tree Committee and its coordinator, and this ongoing again. We're doing a lot of initiatives so people understand all the initiatives we've gone on the urban forest, and commend the Urban Forest Committee on a lot of the great things they've done in planting and further in planting of trees in the area and the region. Sustainable development. Again, the town's working to ensure developments and infrastructure are designed for sustainable practices that reduce environmental impact and adapt to climate change. So we're considering implementing sustainable standards on the town's purchasing and procurement policies, and the plans to be updated during this fall and winter on that. Ensuring the requirements of the stormwater management plans for private developers. Staff are redeveloping new municipal service standards specifications in conjunction with the revisions being developed for the town's subdivision bylaws. These municipal service standards specifications will include improved detailed stormwater management requirements and means. Once these are developed, staff will engage with the County of Colchester to look at the alignment of stormwater management requirements for each. So again, this is a major issue for development and making sure that we're moving things forward. As far as community wellness goes, communities, we want to be a community where every individual has access to quality social opportunities, infrastructure, and ensuring that people live in safe, nurturing communities and promote physical, emotional, and social health for everyone. So a number of things going forward as far as strategic actions go here in safety and resiliency. Review and update of police and fire services based on community needs. This is ongoing. Truro Police Service through the Police Board and based on the new provincial standards from the Department of Justice. So this is ongoing, and as council is aware, the police review has been delivered, and again, there's a number of changes and that will result from that, and that'll be ongoing, I think, for the next couple of years as we move forward. Review the annual performance of the Truro Fire Service and the Truro Police Service through the Police Board and through the Fire Chief. These are ongoing as well, and as council is aware, there's on the Fire Service as well, there's been a review that just recently delivered, and there'll be differences, changes to training standards in that, and those will be ongoing. Maintain commitment to the REMO and REMAC, so Regional Emergency Measures Organization and committees. So we are working with the Department of Emergency Management to enhance the regional models in conjunction with the County of Colchester. So again, with the stand-up of this department now, there are a number of changes to EMO that we'll be bringing forward to the local, the regional committees as well. Continue to review deer management strategy and controlled managed hunt to increase efficiencies. So staff expanded the program in 2025 to include the urban site to target the more urban population. Proposal was submitted to Colchester as well to collaborate to broaden the scope of the hunt outside of Truro. We still have the continued partnership with Department of Natural Resources, the LAC, Millbrook, and Feed Nova Scotia. And we've also contracted with a second hunting coordinator to expand the program. So again, we're still waiting word from the County of Colchester whether or not they wish us to assist them in their hunt that they'll be implementing in future years. We've reviewed the two-tiered models for recreation services in Truro. So staff have completed jurisdictional scan of other municipalities and have yet to determine a successful model. So again, that will be ongoing to come to council as we get more information. Again, when we looked at the integrated mobility, strategic actions there, developing the public transit feasibility study, reviewing and considering options that result from the study with the County of Colchester. So that is ongoing and to be delivered in 26. We look at the involved and connected communities. So we look at improving public access to council meetings and increasing opportunities for community engagement. Council meetings are provided through a number of through multiple channels, and they're available for viewing online. Council, with both public council meetings, the TPAC, and the Committee of the Whole. Multiple public engagement sessions are being hosted between May and October on the through economic on different topics, economic prosperity, the environment, transportation studies. So again, I think we've done a good job in contacting the public and through the public engagement process and online and through surveys. Continuing to support the senior safety program to enhance more connected and engaged senior population in Truro. So the grant was renewed again this year, and Truro Police Service continues to deliver a program focused on senior safety, crime prevention, and wellness. Complete the revitalization recognition project from them to construction battalion. Obviously, that ceremony took place on November 8th, and I think it was very well received by the community, and very proud to be able to have been able to deliver that project for the community. And again, applaud council for their courage in actually going through with the renaming process, which I think was a great step forward. Celebrate the efforts of volunteers and sponsors for the TAC Grounds revitalization. So the grand opening, again, will be in the spring of 2026, and we will celebrate the community involvement in bringing and delivering the TAC Grounds revitalization project, which is what it was called during that process. And again, that will take place coming up this spring. Update the recreation open space plan. Staff will work with a consultant for this, and we expect to be delivered in late 2025, early 26. Completed the rail yard phase 1 and phase 2. If you haven't been up there, the pump track has been constructed, and that is the final step of delivering the master plan for the rail yard, and hopefully the grass grows in, because it did get rained out during that period. So again, we look at inclusive and welcoming community. So we look at the number of initiatives there. Executing action plan and recommendation outlining the equity and anti-racism plan, which Ms. Gillis just delivered. So obviously, as Councillor Talbot indicated, we have a number of things to make sure we actually deliver on the program. And again, once they'll be brought forward for the final approval by council in the upcoming meeting. So it says final approval in November. It will actually be in December. So again, that will be a major step forward in delivering the plan. Maintain commitment with the African Nova Scotian Strategic Community Strategy Committee to support ongoing efforts of equity, inclusion, and community empowerment. So we've done a number of projects that, again, listed here. Number 2 Construction Battalion renaming, commemoration of the Ford Street Women's Educators, George Jones Fire Station, just some of the examples. And we'll continue to meet with the community and bring those things forward. Hopefully we'll be installing the greenhouse in the Stan Maxwell Park in the spring, which has been delayed slightly. Support and promote the inclusive events, Pride, Embrace, Diwali, the powwow, and all their cultural celebrations, and we continue to support those. Strengthen partnerships with the education institutions to ensure the town's effectively meeting student needs. So this is ongoing. Participated in Dalhousie strategic engagement sessions. Dal and Nova Scotia Community College currently sit on the public transit feasibility study advisory group to ensure students' voices are represented. Strengthen relationship with Millbrook First Nation to ensure the town is advancing truth and reconciliation. So this is ongoing. Currently reviewing the agreements and support commitments to see how they can be strengthened with Millbrook, and that is ongoing. Exploring ways for the town to support community sport recreation associations as volunteer numbers decline. So staff have offered low and no cost options on facilities and offer offer the Community Action Fund. Staff continue to assist with training opportunities to promote volunteer recruitment. As well, review and revise the municipal grant policy to better align with council's objectives. So the first step is to consult with council to get feedback on the priorities for updates. And in fact, we'll be setting up a meeting with council on the grant policy in the coming weeks. Affordable communities, again, the action plans there. Advocate with the province of Nova Scotia, support for the former hospital site, ensuring projects are ready to take advantage of provincial federal funding. Develop regulations and policies to strengthen municipal planning strategy to emphasize affordable housing. So we have the draft affordable housing framework has been created and presented to town council, and we're setting up initial meetings with county staff on that. The initial ones took place in November 24, and I've been in contact with the CAO from the county to set up a meeting within the weeks to move that forward. Enhancing food security and local food systems for supporting programs and services through Truro Farmers Market, Colchester Food Bank, community gardens, and the youth breakfast programs. So Colchester Food Bank will have access to the community gardens boxes on King Street in 2026. Support local agencies addressing housing and homelessness and actively advocating on their behalf. With mayor and council, meetings with housing and not-for-profits taking place regularly to assist local agencies and collaborate on those strategies. Support programs to enhance and access affordable recreation and cultural activities. The Town Community Action Fund currently supports 5 individuals in that area. Advocate with the province of Nova Scotia to include affordable housing development on the former hospital site. Again, as council aware, we have a submission to the province, and we still are waiting word on that, on where that is going to go, hopefully in the near future. And sorry, I did rush through that, but it is long. We will be providing this update to council electronically, and in fact, I probably will post it on the. Have a post on the website as well too, so that the residents can review it. And again, we talk about transparency, and that's one of the ways we want to be transparent, so people can understand that. I think one of the important issues here is to ensure that everything we do goes back to this plan, and when it doesn't, again, we can talk about tweaking the plan itself. And I think that's the main thing, to keep ourselves on point on where we're going and keep things consistent. So again, if there is any questions, I will take those now, and if not, I will take a drink of water.
Well, thank you for that. And I want to say about affordable community, it's getting harder for some people than others to be able to survive in the community, no matter whether it's our town or another one. But I think having that housing going in, and hopefully going in at that 12-acre lot at the old hospital site, is extremely important. As you know, we've been in talks with people, and we're on this all the time, so we're pushing for that, and hopefully that'll happen. One thing I did want to mention in your report, Mr. Dolter, was about Victoria Square, that you mentioned the old tourist information site there. And I wasn't talking to DTP, and there's funding available. I really think it's important that we have a tourism information site here in the town to keep those visitors in the town, shopping, spending money, going to restaurants, hotels. So I think that's really important. So I just wanted to touch on that, and there's funding available for that.
I think the plan is a number of years old. I think it's important to brief current council on what the previous plan was. We did at that time have support from ACOA on that initiative, and council made the decision not to move forward with it. So I think we need to, we'll sit down with council and probably do some engagement sessions with the community to decide what we want to do with that space, which, I think we suggested before, pop-up type setups there, and, more of a space that people felt that they could come in there and enjoy what's there.
Yeah.
Again, it is a beautiful space, and we just need to take advantage of it and have things in there that people want.
Exciting times ahead. Are there any questions on the report? Okay, Councillor Graham.
I have 2. One may be best suited for Mr. Browning, but possibly you. The first question is with regard to the water utility review. I know that Halifax are experiencing, and residents are looking forward to, a 35% increase in their water rates over the next 4 years. Is that something that we're anticipating here in Truro? I'm wondering about the process to establish the new rates. And my second question, again, following the news and what's happening in Halifax, residents are looking forward to potentially receiving a 10% property rate increase as well. I'm wondering, as we move into budget negotiations, is that something that staff are increasing, both the water utility rate, which I'm hoping Mr. Browning will answer, but maybe best suited for you is the one regarding property tax rate potential increases or not? And is that something we can expect to hear from staff in our budget deliberations?
I guess I'll just address I'll let Mr. Browning do the water rate review. As far as any potential tax increase or anything like that, it's way too early to say, and I would at this point, that's why we're doing the 5-year plan we're looking at right now. What we would prefer to present to council is a long-term vision for capital and tying in operations to that. We know, for example, we have all our collective agreements settled. We know where we're going on those amounts. So we're looking at forecasting those out 5 years. So what we'd like to do is rather than do a one-off, oh, this year we're going to have to do this, we want to sit down with council and look at presenting more of a longer-term strategy. I'm hoping we're going to have that ready when it comes to our budget deliberations. We're not quite like Halifax, they've started now. We'll start probably in the February timeframe. At this point in time, I don't anticipate any major shifts, but again, we need to look at where we're going, particularly with the number of things that are ongoing as far as, ongoing things with the Rath Leasing Center, our own infrastructure requirements. We want to have a solid plan in place, which, we have some of the previous plans, they have to be updated. And once we are able to quantify that, I'll be able to answer the question a lot better. We don't anticipate any major shift.
Okay.
But again, until we run the numbers, we're not going to know that. I mean, they're way ahead of our process. We're not there yet. But again, we want to do a 4 to 5 year plan so council can know what's going on and where we're headed, right? And then we can make better decisions.
Thank you.
As far as the water rate, Ms. Browning, I don't know if you can offer anything there.
So you spoke of asking about the process of what we're going to follow to make any adjustments to water rates. So similar to what Mr. Dolter spoke about with 5-year capital plans of the actual town itself, the water utility is going to have the same done. This will help guide where we're going to need to be as far as revenue to maintain the sustainability of the water utility itself and any improvements to infrastructure that's going to be needed to be done in the next 5 years. The water rate study itself incorporates this information, so it's going to look at present and future needs for revenues, which will then compare where we're at with our current water rates as compared to other towns and municipalities and other utilities within the province. Without even doing a deep dive, I suspect our water rates are currently in probably the lower quartile of all other water utilities in the province. One of the other things we're going to do is engage an external consultant to do a property condition assessment on the water treatment plant. It hasn't been looked at probably since its inception. It's been operating fantastic, but things are obviously starting to get long in the tooth since we're almost approaching the age of 35. So we're going to look at that, and that information is going to be incorporated into 5-year capital planning for the water utility. So this is kind of where we're going in next fiscal year. I think I answered everything that you were asking about with that. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, I think you've answered a lot. I just think that it's important for residents to understand that we do not necessarily set the water rate, do we? That's
Well-
the rate that is set by,
We can't arbitrarily set. So we can't wake up tomorrow and say, you know, what we're going to do is change what we're charging for water. We're not allowed to do that. So this is regulated by by what used to be called the UARB, now it's the RAB. And so in order for us to make any adjustments to what we charge for water, we have to make application to RAB and go through the process of public hearings and get approval from them to make the adjustments. And so when we go and look at doing a water rate study, this is compiling the information that we need to have to basically back up our request to RAB for any adjustments we need or see fit that we need to make for them to approve it.
how long has the water rate been as it is now?
Almost 10 years.
10 years?
Yes,
So-
the last water rate study that was completed by the town was in 2013. And so going through the process of getting RAB approval, I believe that the agreement was 2015, and the actual implementation of at that time, increased water rates was implemented in 2016.
Okay,
So
so buckle up.
well, Fortunately, I mean, I'm not going to belittle this. I mean, any increase in anything is not, obviously
Yeah.
great. But it is, as far as an expense goes relative to property tax or whatever, it's a little less than, as you're aware. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Councillor. We'll have one last question. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Dolter. Fun to have you on that side of the desk. Just a quick question or even comment on the the trust and transparency, because that's something obviously we all embrace. It's part of our strategic priorities. Just in preparation for when people say, "Oh, you're all about transparency, but you won't allow comments on some of the social media posts and stuff," and I just wonder if you could talk a little about why we do that, and the fact that we have processes for the public to reach out to us. We don't necessarily monitor Facebook, and then sometimes the Facebook comments go off the rails, and there might even be a tie-in to the anti-racism presentation as well.
We post on social media really, for two different reasons. One, to inform, and others to, in some cases, we are looking for some feedback depending on the situation, right? What we have found, though, that we're better, to get feedback, we're now more tending to use more surveying, things like that, because again, that's a way better way to get useful information. In many cases, what ends up happening is when we do post and we turn the comments on, it hijacks the good message we're trying to get out there.
Yeah.
And in fact, it takes on a life of itself. So we've taken on a practice, as many municipalities have now, of turning comments on, off, in things that, quite frankly, we're not necessarily looking for feedback on. If people do want to comment, they can, there are many ways to contact us, and we do get a lot of emails through our general inquiry email, and we typically try to get back on those. In not all cases, like again, the roundabout is probably a good indication. We left comments on there, and we were able to have a good exchange of information. So in cases where we'll post something and we're open to some information, we'll leave comments on up to a point, and when it starts to get out of hand, we'll turn them off. And as you say, what ends up happening, and we don't want to be the platform for it to occur, is people that comment start attacking each other, and then it gets it kind of shows some of the ugly parts of our society in some ways. So, and we don't want to be facilitating that. And the other thing, people do mistake social media for a way as a complaints line. And as you mentioned, we don't monitor Facebook comments in order, if you're reporting a pothole on Facebook, we aren't monitoring that. So again, we do have an online complaints form that people can fill out. That's the best way for people to contact us. And if they want to contact us, or as they do, they can call a counselor, and we do hear from them, or they can call us. I mean, the number is available, and we, to call us. But yeah, Facebook is a good tool for getting information out there. It's not necessarily great for commentary and exchange of information. And again, we use it, we do control how it's being used. And in fact, we are going to put a disclaimer or put a statement on our Facebook page that says basically, we have comments turned off because we're just looking to inform you and not necessarily to be back and forth with information, again, because it does, and it bothers people that do use our Facebook page on some of the comments that are there. So we want to maintain decorum on that, and use it to inform people in a timely manner. And that's the main source.
Yeah, and that's, you mentioned too, hijacking the good work that we're doing and that message. And I have said from day one that I don't think we do a good enough job advertising all the good work that the town does. And I think this is a great step toward that, as these updates on the strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Mr. Dolter. And our final question, we do have a presentation afterwards. So Deputy Mayor, if you don't mind.
Yes, Mr.
So just wondering how we're going to prioritize capital expenditures back to the strategic plan. And in that effort, how does council get involved with that?
So, what, we'll be providing, we'll be providing an update on the capital plan. What we're hoping to do in early January through Public Works and through the other departments that are involved in capital and capital acquisition, we'll be doing up the list of potential capital projects. And then once we have those costed and we're looking at, in conjunction with the operational budget, we'll be sitting down with council, and I hope to do that a little bit sooner this year, to go through what the list of capital projects will be. And then council will have the opportunity to basically add, change, or delete as they feel they're required. Certainly what, we'll explain as we have in the past, what our priorities are and what we feel are affordable. And as you're aware, Deputy Mayor, even during last year's session, council put projects back that we had cut, and changed some of the priorities. So that's council's input. Okay. But I would as well offer that going into the capital, if there are projects that council, individual councillors or council in general feels we should be considering, please bring those to my attention, and we'll ensure that those are considered and add to the list, and and we'll seek further information if it's required.
Right, okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Dolter. Feel free to come back and join us up here. Okay. So we're going to move on to item number 5, and we're pleased to welcome back to Council Luann Shankles for a brief presentation. She's going to be joined today by Sylvania Luboni, and whenever you're ready, come on down, Luann. Just put your microphone on, but the button, just push the button.
Silvano Iaboni.
Thank you. All right, so just whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here. And we have 2 board members behind us. So my name's Luann Shankles, and we have Don Cameron and Ann Walker behind us. And I have a slide presentation, I think. Do I do it, or does somebody do it? I do it. Double clicking. Must be the way I'm holding my mouth. So while Savannah's getting that going, I just want to thank each of the councillors for coming down to the Dome in the last couple of weeks. And Don, a town resident, arranged that, and we got to show everyone the great things that are happening at the Dome. So just to refresh your memory, we're a registered charity and nonprofit organization. We employ approximately 5 staff and are open 76 hours a week. We have a talented and dedicated board operating under a strong governance model and supporting the staff and operations. We have become an anchor as well as an attraction in the middle of town, hosting accessible multi-sport activities. We also welcome all local schools to our facility at no cost. These are our board members that we presently have, 12. And what we do at the Dome is we help people thrive. So linking to your strategic plan, we have all ages, all levels, all mobilities, and many sports. Pickleball, tennis, track, walking, running, training, turf activities of soccer, tag, and community events and youth camps. Each day, approximately 125 pairs of sneakers come through our door. We count it on October 22nd and had 107 participants in tennis, pickleball, 4 walkers, and the parents of our 25 tennis students that day. We are positively impacting our community with over 30,000 visits per year. We have annual and monthly members, and we have regular drop-in players, plus all of our programming with students, teams, school visits, and we also host about 15 tournaments a year, ranging from 40 to 200 participants per tournament, all bringing in people into our town. Each year, we successfully bring in over $300,000 in revenue. Despite all this great activity, we don't quite meet our annual operating budget. I'm going to show you 10 reasons why we do what we do, and I hope you will join us as a financial partner. The 10 reasons are those faces. Participants from every walk of life, all ages, genders, abilities. Kids, adults, seniors, wheelchair athletes, Special Olympics, track stars, track walkers, campers, tennis, or pickleball players. We have regular days and special event days, and we serve up smiles every day and watch our visitors have fun, be challenged, and make connections. Oftentimes, those connections happen spontaneously, and sometimes we give it a nudge by offering no-cost walking, and this fall, due to some national funding, no-cost youth tennis and soccer program. We have many happy moments. However, last year was a tough one. Our board and staff had to dig deep in order to just continue operations. In the past year, to address this, we have increased pricing and improved processes, pursued grants and funding opportunities, sponsorships and private donations, and with TCPEP, we created a strategic plan, which I've given to you at the start of the meeting. That's our draft working copy, so TCPEP got us started, and we got it to this point just in the last couple of days. We've invested in our infrastructure with a $132,000 grant from the province that includes 6 brand new pickleball courts, improved lighting, and improved exterior fencing. We also, last spring, received $25,000 from the county in operating funds, which was a lifesaver. We thank the town for its support in the past with its original construction loan, and as well as the annual property tax in lieu that it offers to local nonprofits. We're asking for your help, though, and Savannah's going to tell you why.
Can you move the microphone right in front of me? Thank you.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. Obviously, we have a request to you to continue to support us financially for $50,000, and I'll go a bit through the financial overview. And I've given you quite a bit more info than I planned to go through for your reference, but I'll hit some of the highlights in the document, and I've added also in the appendix the MNP financials for our fiscal year, which runs from August 31st to September 1st. Obviously, I've made it as simple as I can, all thousands of dollars, so it looks easier. I'm a stickler for currency, and it's all Canadian. So our revenue, as Luann mentioned, high level for $417,000. It's a bit lower than previous year, but there's some good news built into that. Our sports revenue is up. Sports, tennis, pickleball is $211,000. So that's half of our revenue comes from those two sports, up 20%. The other components of the dome, which is renting the track or the turf, a rental of the space to Aroma Maya, is up is $126,000, or up 50%. What we came short on is the grant and donations component from the previous year. Although we do have a $130,000 grant that came in late in the year that's on our balance sheet, and it's not in our revenue column, that supports project work only, like the pickleball courts. So kind of on the high level, top line is operating revenue growing, offset by, what we can't really control too much is trying to pull in donations and grants to support the facility. So if you remember that previous number, 417, our expense breakdown was 464,000, more than revenue. It's up about 4.8% from last year, which I consider pretty reasonable considering inflationary pressures in our economy. The key drivers, as you would expect in our dome, which you visited, is utilities, which is electricity, propane, up 14%. Administration, which is paying for wages, so there's wage inflation, and making sure that we've covered with full-time people or part-time people, up 6.9%. When I look at the details of our expenses, the key points are administrative efficiency is maintained. We've got very responsible cost management from our team, Lisa, the manager there, and no exceptional expenses or events last year, which thankfully, because usually they're pretty expensive if something happens at the dome. So year-end revenue minus expenses is a deficit of $46,000. Compared to last year, it was a deficit of $28,000. But when I look at cash, so I remove depreciation. Depreciation is about $56,000 per year. If I remove depreciation out of that, the true cash flow is positive. We added just under $13,000 to the bank account. Obviously, higher utilities, admin costs offset some of the growth we saw in the key reason the dome operates, the sports facility. Unfortunately, that means minimal cash reserves in the event something happens, and financially precarious, with revenue only covering 74% of operating costs. So that's a fine line that our board and our manager at the dome walks. I'm just going to cover a couple things on the balance sheet. We do have $189,000 in cash right now. A large part of that is already spent because that came in, the big grant, $132,000, is on our liabilities. That was for our infrastructure projects that were identified. So that is all going out before the end of the year. Some current liabilities, $28,000. We have got a long-term debt of $207,000, but there's an error there. But I report it because it's based on our MNP financials. We have $194,000 due to the town of Truro, the original loan, but it's actually $156,000. We've been paying it down slowly, albeit, and it's been paid down $79,000 since 2018. So it's actually 156, just under 157 due to the town of Truro in our fiscal year end. So looking ahead, we continue to try to diversify, come up with new programming with a detailed strat plan developed, maintain a very tight cost discipline you can see in this environment, keeping it to, under 5% cost growth, I think is exceptional. Building reserves for sustainability is important. We really don't have reserves in the event of anything significant happening, like a furnace malfunction, failure, one of our large fans burning out, one of our power boxes failing. There's no reserve for that. And we continue as a board to look at high impact programs to see what other kind of funding we can bring into the facility and keep that gem alive in Truro. And this is just for reference, the appendix having the MNP financials.
So your handouts, the slide presentation is a more detailed one than you saw, and we don't have this one, but of course we'll share this with you if you have the interest.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate the presentation. Is there any questions tonight about the Cougar Dome? Okay, Councillor Graham?
I have just one question, and it was a follow-up to our meeting when I visited the Cougar Dome, and I appreciated the opportunity to learn more about what goes on there and where you're at financially, but there was a comment made that I haven't really understood since that time, and it was that if the Cougar Dome ceases to be able to support itself or it ceases to run, then that asset moves over to the town. And I didn't understand that, and I was hoping you could explain that to me, why that would be.
Our facility is on land that we have a lease to the town for $1. And we have a long, I don't know, 8-page lease that outlines that. And one bullet in that lease says that if our board cannot maintain operations at our facility, then the property on which we stand would revert back to the town.
The property, but not necessarily the facility? Is that correct, Mr. Dalter?
That's correct. I mean, the
understand.
assets still belong to the Cougar Dome Society, so if they chose to take the dome down and sell off the components of it, they would be entitled to that. Now, I think it's on a concrete pad, that probably would be, because it's affixed to the property, would be considered, you know, would be considered part of what would get returned to us, but we don't actually have ownership of the building itself, right?
Okay,
Because it's not a, it's not a fixed structure. It can be deflated and it theoretically could be moved, right?
okay.
So it is a little bit different.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Talbot?
Yes, thanks for the presentation. Just looking at this more detailed one, when you talk about your long-term sustainability, you talk about stable funding from municipalities. So I'm not sure what that means in terms of yearly commitment. What is that, a 1 year? Is that a 20 years? An ongoing thing?
We sort of hope that it would be a 5-year commitment, and that by the time the 5 years are up, with our new pricing structure and our tighter control on processes, that we would be able to land on our own 2 feet by then. But we would be asking both the town, the municipality, and the school board for $50,000 each this year and for the next 5.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you both for coming here tonight. I appreciate that. Oh, wait, Deputy Mayor, he's always a late ringer-inner. Here we go.
Well, I haven't had this before me before, but just looking at your expenses, first of all, I think you're asking for about a 12% of your operational budget be supported by us, which, when you consider that you have 110, 125 visitors a day, is not so bad. For us to run that facility whole hog and provide that service to the community, 12%, right? That's a pretty good deal in my books. However, looking at your expenses sheet here, you're looking at 25, 26, you got 153,000 for repairs and maintenance. That doesn't appear in the other years. Why was it so large in that 1 year? And is that sort of ongoing? You expect those kind of expenditures on a yearly basis going forward?
Yeah, very good question, Mr. Thomas. That is a flow-through of the grant money that comes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, from the
Understood.
pickleball expenses that occurred after our fiscal year end. So
Right.
that's flowing through the P&L at that point in time.
Right.
So it's one-time.
Right, right.
expense.
Okay, so when I'm looking at things, I can consider it a one-time thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and those pickleball courts are just fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say
A real resource for the
they're the
town.
best in Eastern Canada,
Yeah.
for sure.
A real resource for the town.
And it is busy.
Yeah,
People really appreciate them.
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you very
you.
much. Okay, thank you so much for coming tonight. We
you.
appreciate the presentation
you.
very much. Thank you. We're going to move on to the last item in our agenda tonight, and it is the bylaw review. Mr. Dalter?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I promise this will be quick. Again, this has been something that obviously has come up at a couple different, over different council meetings over the last little while. So as of late of this week, we've been looking at some of them over the longer period, but I've sat down with staff and I provided this list to council. You can review that at your leisure. It includes both the bylaws and the policies. So each of the department heads are going to review the bylaws and policies that apply to them, and they will be looking at changes that need to be done. I've given them a final deadline for to have the bylaws fully reviewed and completed by the summer of '26. That's not to say that we're not going to deal with some of them are fairly straightforward updates and changes. Others are going to take a little bit longer. And the one I keep going back to is the roads policy under Public Works. I think it was last amended in the 1918 or something like that. So it's got to be fully revamped. So there's some of them that have to be totally redone. But the rest of them, some of them are fairly straightforward. One of the things we are going to do is that, and you'll notice there's a column there for fees and fines. We're taking out all of those direct references, and we're going to put that in policy documents because we can amend those quickly, whereas bylaws take there's a lot more of an extensive process to do bylaws. So what we'll be doing as we do regular updates from staff to me on where they are with these, and I expect we'll probably be doing bylaw first readings in a group on an ongoing basis, so that we're not trying to do them all at once. So we'll be updating as we can. So, like I said, by next summer, I hope to have them fully completed, and we'll go from there. And there's a number, particularly with the policies. Some of those policies, this is the full list of policies. Some of these are ones that will come back to council because obviously they have a broader connotation. But there's some of them that are internal, like the dress code policy is an internal policy for staff. We'll deal with that. We wouldn't bring that to council, but some of the other ones we certainly will bring to council for approval. Again, those are a lot more simpler because we don't have to give first reading on them as compared to bylaws. So that's the process we're going to go through. If there's any questions, I can answer those now or at a later date. And like I said, we are committed to the process, getting them done, because again, we do recognize that some of them are very much outdated. And in fact, we do expect some of them may go by the way of the dodo because they're no longer required. And you never know, some new ones may come up, and and there's some amendments too. There's recent changes to the Highway Traffic Act too. We got to compare some of the bylaws to see if there's anything in those that now contradict provincial direction on and that would probably be consistent with the roads policy as well.
Right.
So we'll look through those. So, Madam Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, and I think maybe we'll review this, and then any question, there is a question, and then we'll bring any of our questions back to you to save time. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one quick question. Mr. Dolter, you could save me making the motion at a council meeting when you were doing some of these bylaw reviews, because today's meeting, Committee of the Whole, is not included or set out anywhere in the schedule for the council meetings bylaw, I think it is. But I believe we've got it set as the third Thursday of every month at 4 p.m. So if we could just get that added in there, or save me making the motion.
Yeah, the reason it's not there, it's not considered a public meeting, and that's the one that is legislated. So if we skip a committee of the whole, but yeah, what I'll do is we'll look at how to address that, whether or not it needs to be in a bylaw or as a policy document for council.
Yeah.
So we will formalize it. You are correct. It's not written down anywhere, so it's just something we've adopted.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
For that. So this is the end of our agenda, so I want to thank everyone today for their comments and questions, and to our presenters. Our next Committee of the Whole meeting is Thursday, December the 18th at 4 p.m. I want to remind everybody about the Festival of Lights at Civic Square at 7 p.m. Friday evening, and the Santa Claus Parade on Sunday at 4 p.m. And continue to be kind to each other and to our town. All happy and smiling. The Committee of the Whole for Thursday, November the 20th, 25th is adjourned, and today it is 5:41 p.m. Thank you very much for everyone.